this video, I'm gonna break down how I flipped this Kendrick Lamar music video into a crazy viral mixed media animation. I'm gonna be using my MXM plugin throughout this entire video to get that nice paper and color texture. So if you wanna grab yourself a copy, it's gonna be the first link in the description down below, and you'll also be able to find all of my other After Effects tools right there. But let's get straight into it. All right, so I went ahead and pre-organized all the assets I'm gonna need for this composition. So as you can see, we got a close-up right here. We got a little flag. We got the guy with the sign, and we got this clean plate that I'm going to show you how to do. So the first thing I want to get out the way is to create this clean plate. It's going to be done. We're going to need it later on, but let's just do it right now. So the way you're going to do that is by taking a screenshot. There are many ways you can do this. I personally use FX Console, so I'm just going to hit the screenshot button like this, then open up the file browser. Just wait for it to load, as you can see, and then we're going to drag it into Photoshop. And what we're going to be using for this is Photoshop AI. So I'm sure if you guys have already used it, you know what we're going to be doing. But basically, you want to essentially select these subjects and remove them. So we're going to hit it with a remove prompt. And you might not need to do this. It's going to depend when we go to like the 3D camera part, but just know that this is the way I did it for this specific animation. So as you can see, it's giving us some really clean result like that. And we're essentially going to do that with all the subjects. And the reason why I'm doing this in the first place is because we're going to be isolating all of these objects and basically displacing them on the Z-axis in the 3D space. And to do so without seeing the original one and the new one in the foreground, we need to have a clean plate. And so that's why we're doing this right here. Super easy stuff. Once again, just hit remove. I messed up this one, but it's whatever. It's probably gonna work still. It's not working anyway. Yeah, don't be careful with typos, I guess, or else you're gonna get the crazy looking guy like this. Let's try it again. Yeah, it's working a lot better. But yeah, basically just work your way until you're able to remove everything in the frame and get a clean plate. We're not gonna waste too much time on this. I already did it. As you can see, if it's not working perfectly, you can also do it manually. But once you're done with this, we should have a clean plate that looks something like this. And we're just gonna make sure to line it up with our original footage. So as you can see, this is lining up perfectly. The important part is essentially the background and the floor for us. And now we're gonna move over to the rotoscoping part. So we're gonna be isolating every single subject of our composition that we want to display on the Z-axis. So in my case, it's gonna be this animal thingy statue looking like Kendrick. And this statue right here. I was bugging because I was wondering if I did the frames, but it looks like I didn't. I actually got rid of them, I think. Anyway, I'm gonna catch you guys back when all of these are rotoscoped. I'm just gonna speed it up because we don't want to waste like 15 minutes on this, but it's pretty straightforward. Just rotoscope it out and you should be good. So obviously the rotoscoping part is fairly easy in my specific case since we're dealing with pretty much a green screen. So it's not really bugging out. Everything is looking clean super easily. But now what we're gonna do, as you can see, I basically isolated all of these tiny elements. And we're gonna add some of those flags and this stuff just like in the original animation. And I'm not rotoscoping in this specific case. I'm literally just going for a mask and some feather, and it's gonna do the job perfectly because obviously we're filtering it through MXM. So it's gonna hide most of the little issues. So now we're gonna start with this kid right here. So basically I'm just gonna select it like this, something like that. And we're also gonna make sure the clean plate is at the bottom of our comp like this. Since we now isolated everything, this should look fine. Let's see. Oh yeah, we need to turn those back on, obviously. Gonna get rid of the close-up. Yeah, so as you can see, it is not lining up perfectly right now. Obviously this was edited in Photoshop, that top layer, since this is our clean plate. So what I want to do is turn up that feather until it sort of blends in nicely. So let's see. Obviously, like I said, it doesn't need to be perfect, but I'm sure we can get it to look really good. The kid is going to be at the bottom pretty much. As you can see, this is going to go on top. And shit, I mean, this is not too bad. Like, I feel like this is perfectly acceptable. And next, what we're going to do is add the flag. So we're going to use the same exact technique. We could actually rotoscope out the flag. I'm not really sure the way. I think in the original one, I only masked it out like this. So I think we're going to try this first and see if it works properly. But let's see. All right, let's go to the flag, shape mask. It might not look the most realistic, but I kind of like how this is looking. Even though it's like sort of glowing and stuff, because obviously not everything needs to look realistic since we're doing mixed media animations. It's more so a matter of taste, and I kind of like how this is looking right now. So I think we're gonna leave it like that. As you can see, we already have this sort of thing going on. This might be a little too feathered right here, but let's see. Yeah, we're gonna tone it down a little bit like that, and it's gonna seem like the flag is sort of glowing, which I kind of like. So all right, this is looking perfect. The next thing I did in this animation was basically to transform those wall frames into sort of windows. And the way I did that was actually incredibly easy. So I took the source footage, duplicated it, and then we're gonna put it on the top plate. And what you essentially want to do is to add a bunch of masks to this layer. And obviously this is specific to this music video right here, but it's just some ideas you can recycle, because I think this part looked really, really great. So as you can see, I'm just masking every single little frame in the shot. Now the trick I did in the original one was to essentially and I'm gonna call these windows. So yeah, the trick I did in this one was to make it seem as if it was windows, and I basically just dragged this clip to another part of the music video where it's like completely different. And what I did was I added some glow. So I use deep glow personally. You can use the stock glow, it's gonna work fine. And go to the masks and increase the feather on all of them so that our glow is not looking this crappy. And I also added some chromatic aberration to really make it even crazier. So turn it up a bit. This is a free plugin, by the way, and we're gonna have to toggle the unmult feature so that it doesn't mess up our colors. So here's what we have for now. I'm gonna increase that feather a little bit, but I don't want to overdo it, obviously. So yeah, this is looking pretty cool already, as y'all can see. And now we're gonna get to the most important part, which is the 3D tunnel vibe I went for in this specific case. We're gonna be extracting everything on the Z-axis, and yeah, I'm just gonna show you how to do that right now. So first, create a camera. You can hit OK, and then the first thing you want to do is make sure all of your layers are set to 3D. Okay, so do so by clicking these. Once that's done, we can start sort of positioning our scene. So obviously in my original animation, I had this close-up element on the foreground right here. So we're gonna make sure we do that first. So I'm gonna sort of position it on the Z-axis. So as you saw, this is pushed back minus 1300 pixels. So as you can see, we're gonna put it somewhere here and maybe push it back even further because we want to have a lot of depth. That's really what's gonna make this effect look super cool. And as you can see, if we go back to the camera and just move it on the Z-axis, right away this thing has some depth. This might be a little too much right now. I think we're gonna go for like maybe minus 1000. We're gonna see how this feels. Yeah, this already feels a lot better. I think we might actually make it bigger and bring it closer a little bit. This is really gonna be a lot of trial and error. You're gonna find a sweet spot at some point. I think this is looking great. I just need to make this bigger. All right. So if we try it now, This is looking great. All right, I like how this is feeling. So we're essentially gonna do this for all these singular little subjects we rotoscoped. And the trick here is to really use different position values on each subject to make it seem as if it was a tunnel going through multiple sort of depths. I don't know if that makes sense, but you'll see it will in a few seconds. So let's see if we, for example, take this thingy right here. That's in the back. This is what I'm moving right now, so we're gonna put it around here. What about this? I think this is the statue. Yeah, this is the statue. As you can see, since we got a clean plate, when we move it, there's nothing behind it. If we didn't have the clean plate, I'm gonna show y'all. As you can see, it would mess everything up because we would move this and it would reveal the one behind it since this is a duplicate. So obviously that's why you wanna basically create a clean plate. We're gonna bring this forward a little bit, maybe something like this. Let's see when we move the camera if it feels nice. Yeah, as you can see, this is pretty cool. I might bring it back a little bit just so his feet don't go out too much when we're pushing forward. All right, this is looking great. Finally, we got this last one, I think. Yeah, this is the main subject. We're gonna bring it forward a bit, not anything too crazy, but what we can do is scale it up a bit to make it seem a little bigger. And I think we're gonna make the statue a little smaller too. Okay, let's see. So now if we move this, we have some more depth. It's really a matter of tweaking it the way you like. But as you can see, this is sort of the bigger picture way we're doing it. As you can see, it's very simple. And then once you've placed everything the way you want, you essentially just gotta set a keyframe on the first frame, move over to like the last frame of the comp. So mine is gonna be 5 seconds, and then zoom in, something like this. And now, as you can see, this is animated. This is looking great. I'm still going to position this in front of them like that, maybe something like this. And we're gonna move the subject somewhere around here. All right, great. This is looking cool. Obviously we need to extend this so the windows are always on. So as you can see, this is looking great already. The next step is going to be to create a solid. We're gonna make it white. This is gonna be our background. Since I'm just recreating the original animation, this is the way I did it. As you can see, it's sort of starting to take shape. And the next part is one of the most important. So we're gonna add a paper cutout effect to all of these subjects we cut out. I have a video on my channel on how to do this exact paper cutout effect if you want to check it out. But as you can see, it's going to be a breeze. So basically you just duplicate whichever subject you're trying to add paper to. So we're going to start with this close-up one. Go to the bottom layer and then add the paper cutout preset you created. And then we're going to shift the edges to the max. Play with the feather a little bit. And as you can see, now we have this paper cutout effect around him. That looks absolutely amazing. So I like to scale it up a bit. Since the camera is moving in Z space, it's sort of moving both layers. So as you can see, it gets bigger over time, but I kind of like that in this specific animation. And we're essentially going to do that to our subjects. So the exact same thing, just duplicate it and add a paper cutout effect to it. So this is the Kendrick one. We're going to shift the edges, play with the feather a little bit. Maybe scale it up like that. Yeah. So as you can see, this is looking cool. Let's see. Yeah, it's scaling a lot over time. And this is because we're moving through Z space, and this is also keyframed on the Z space, which makes it a little harder to pinpoint where exactly to put it. But worst case, what we can do is actually just sort of roughly track it to our subject. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So a key on the position and the scale, and then go back here, maybe tweak it a little bit because it's going crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right, boom. Maybe a little smaller like that. That's gonna center it back. Okay, yeah, this is looking great. All right. I'll ignore this. This is just the first frames that are doing this. And lastly, we're gonna do the statue overlay right here. So duplicate it, paper cutout overlay, boom. Shift edges, the feather, and then maybe tweak the position a little bit. I don't mind the scaling up as much when it's in the foreground, but when it's in the background, like the main Kendrick subject, I think it looks better when it's scaled properly. All right, so now we're actually gonna play around with the clean plate to bring back some of those original elements in, like the chandelier at the middle. And the way we're gonna do that is super simple. I'm just gonna add a mask to the clean plate and carve out the chandelier like that. So if we invert the mask now, it should reveal back that chandelier. We're just gonna have to feather it a little bit. And as you can see, we can maybe even do it this way. So let's say we bring back this banner thingy and the ceiling like that. And this is looking great right now. So I'm gonna add another deep glow effect to the chandelier on an adjustment layer. So let's do deep glow and mask it to the chandelier only. We're gonna put it 3D, that way it basically scales up over time. And then I like to add a tint and make it this sort of orange yellow hue. Boom, maybe a little bit more yellow. And we're gonna tone it down quite a bit. And then I like to add a wiggle expression on the exposure with a 22 speed and 0.4 intensity. Those are my go-to settings whenever I'm doing a flicker effect. So as you can see now, this one is flickering. It's looking great. We're just gonna duplicate this and actually put it behind the statue, because that's what I did in the original one. So put it behind here, maybe scale it up a bit. Boom, to really make that statue pop a lot. As you can see, this is looking really cool already. And next, we're gonna add the doodles. So this is the fun part. This is really what's gonna sell the overall vibe of the animation. And it's probably my favorite part when it comes to doing mixed media animations. So there's no right or wrong for this. Once again, I'm just gonna go and try to recreate what I did in the original one. So I know I had a circle circling around the foreground subject right here. So we're gonna do circle. I usually like to use this one. So we're obviously gonna set this one to 3D. You wanna set all of these to 3D. And we want the depth of this asset to match the foreground element. So what we're gonna do to do that is go to the close up, check the position value, which is -900, and copy it to the circle. So that's really gonna line it up. That way, when the camera moves, it looks like the position of it is the same as the foreground element. So obviously we're gonna play around with the scale a little bit, maybe move it around a little bit like that. Kind of like to make it more circular. So we're gonna do that. Boom. And I think I went for a subtract blending mode, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And we can duplicate this and just move these layers around so they're not the exact same timing. And as you can see, this is going to create a nice little effect. So now we have this circle effect going on. Now I'm just going to add a bunch of them. Obviously the line, I know this is something I did in the original one. So we're going to do the lines like this, make them 3D, and then basically carve out this sort of frame around this frame right here. Okay, scale it up a little bit. This should already be positioned well with the Z-axis. Yes, it is. So then duplicate it, move it to the bottom. And when it comes to doodles, if I have one tip, it is to make sure to randomize them as much as possible. And what I mean by that is if you're using the same asset twice, you want to make sure the timing is not the exact same. So we're going to move these to the bottom of our timeline because we don't need them to be high like that. Okay, this is great. So move one of these just so that they're not the exact same at the same moment in the animation. And I think I'm gonna add some more. So we're gonna do 90 degrees and then add them to this side right here. Once again, the same thing. Scale it down. Okay, scale it down a bit. Like this, move the timing and then duplicate it, move it to the other side and move it again. Okay. So yeah, this is looking super cool already. Obviously, this is not filtered through the MXM plugin yet, but you can already see where we're going with this. Now, we're gonna texturize this white background. So one cool trick I like to do is to use a fire overlay, which crazy enough works pretty much all the time. So we're gonna use this fire overlay, scale it up a ton, like this. And then I like to play around with the blending modes and find something that doesn't really look like fire, but just adds enough texture to where it looks nice. So I think we're going to use the exclusion blending mode, but we're going to add a hue in saturation and make it feel sort of like a brown color. So let's see if we're able to do that. Where's the orange? Okay, let's see. Yeah, so something like this, desaturate it a bunch, and then well, we're gonna brighten it up a little like that, and I'm gonna scale it up like crazy so that we don't necessarily understand this is a fire overlay. So as you can see, this adds a lot of motion and stuff. We're gonna tone it down a little bit. And I also like to just go crazy with all the other stuff and add a bunch of doodles once again. One of my favorite ones is the mosaic one. That is essentially this. By the way, if you want to get this mixed media doodles pack for free, just head to the description down below and I will have a download link for that. So we're going to position this mosaic overlay real quick. Set it to 3D, put it in the corner like that. Boom. So this should be fine, I think. Yeah, this is looking fine. And maybe another frame. This is such a messy project, but that's how you get the best results. It's with a messy timeline. All right, set it to 3D, scale it down. Boom. Okay. And yeah, I mean, this is looking pretty close to the original animation we had, as y'all can see. And it basically took us 30 minutes to do. So all that's left to do is to filter this animation through the MXM plugin. The original one was filtered through the MXM V2 model, which isn't available for public right now at the time of recording this video. But we're still gonna do it with the V1, and I'm gonna show y'all how to do that. So we're gonna go to Window, Extension, and then MXM. As you can see, it's gonna boot up. Next, we're gonna fetch the comps. And then you just want to select whichever comp you're working in. So mine is the before comp. Hit launch, wait for it to load, and as you can see, it's going to load right up. And then you can customize all the settings you want. I also always do this little trick where I go to the main layer and turn off the threshold effect to get some different color rendition. And yeah, I mean, now it's really just a matter of playing around with the different settings, going with your favorite ones. I'm gonna bump this up a little bit, the colors, maybe play around with the gamma quite a bit, as this is a super bright animation. But yeah, I'm also gonna posterize it to 8 FPS and set the scan to 2x. And shit, I mean, as you guys can see, this is looking crazy. It's obviously a different style than the V2 model, but I think it is amazing. So as you can see, the result looks absolutely crazy. I'm still going to show you what it looks like if we filtered it through the V2 model. So let's just close it out. And I have this little comp right here that has it pre-applied. And as you can see, this looks just like the original animation pretty much. Thinking about it, one last thing we can do is add some scan lines. So the way I always do that is by adding a adjustment layer on which I had a grid effect, set it to black, set the blending mode to standard or normal. And then we're basically going to play around with those anchor values until we only have horizontal lines. Move the corner to move that last line out of the frame. Play around with this to move the density around. I think I want a lot of lines, but not this much. Something like this looks fine. We're gonna go for a 0.8 border. And then the sauce is to keyframe this anchor value with a wiggle expression set to 10 speed and 10 intensity. That's gonna add a little bit of movement to it. And if we go back to that MXM comp, now we have those scan lines too. And I mean, this is looking really, really close to the original animation. And yeah, that's pretty much how you recreate this viral Kendrick mixed media animation from my Instagram. I hope you guys liked this. If you want to get your hands on the MXM plugin, once again, the link is going to be in the description down below. Also, make sure you go download your free mixed media doodles pack in the description. And that's going to be pretty much it, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed these longer formats where I essentially take you from start to finish on how to create complex mixed media animations like these. And on that note, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.